Student ID. I will introduce the first part. My part contains 4 subsections. First section is Introduction. Now see the introduction. In the 21st century, the social media platforms have emerged one after another. However, at the same time, a mental health crisis among young people is sweeping across the globe. And our goal is to analyze the relationship between the social media and the crisis. According to research, in 2000, only 1 in 4 young people aged 10 to 24 reported symptoms of common mental health issues, whereas now this proportion has risen to 1 in 3. However, numerous media reports and analyses have covered similar topics, instantly pointing to a concerning trend. Young's mental health issues seems to be deteriorating. So we raise some questions. Okay, we go to the next part, research questions. The 4 questions that we decide to analyze. They relate to the design of social media, some people's self-worth, the meaning virtues like moderation, the root cause, and the partial ethical responsibility. The next part is the objectives of the discussion. And to systematically study the contents and the mechanism of social media's impact on adolescents' psychological crises, utilitarianism, social moral responsibility, virtual ethics, existentialism, and personal reasoning judgment. Overall objectives of this study are twofold. First, clearly determine the relationship. Second, reflect on the role of philosophical education. So what's the importance of the study? It can divide to 3 parts: theoretical, practical, and social cultural dimensions. The theoretical part is something about the development of philosophy. The practical part relates to how to support the young people. Our research also holds for society as a whole. That's the social dimensions part. Okay, time to pass the mic to next member. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I want to talk about how social media is affecting young people's behavior and mental health. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and X are fun and addictive, but behind this all fun, there are some real consequences we should not ignore. Let's start with short videos. TikTok and Reels are designed to keep users scrolling. The fast-paced, endless feed triggers dopamine and makes us hooked. Many teens spend hours watching without even realizing it, often at the cost of sleep, study time, or real-life relationship. It's not just entertainment, it is engineered addiction. Next, let's talk about likes. Getting likes feels good because it gives us social approval, but over time we can become dependent on that social approval. If a post doesn't get enough likes, some people would start to feel anxious or even worthless. This is especially harmful for teenagers who are still developing their sense of self. Another issue is social comparison. On social media, people often share only the best part of their lives, edited, filtered, or staged. This creates unrealistic expectations. When young users compare their real lives to these perfect images, they may feel like they're not good enough, leading to envy, sadness, and low self-esteem. Some users even start controlling their image by filtering comments or deleting negative feedback. While this protects against hate, it can also create a fake, overly positive environment where people feel pressured to always appear perfect. All these behaviors, scrolling endlessly, chasing likes, comparing lives, watching numbers, managing comments won't just affect how we spend our time. They affect how we feel. Studies have linked these habits to anxiety, low self-worth, fear of missing out, and sleep problems. From a moral standpoint, we have to ask, is this just a personal problem, or is the system partly responsible? A utilitarian view says that we should aim for the greatest happiness for the greatest number. But if millions of teens are anxious, depressed, or sleep deprived because of addictive app design, then the system is failing that goal. These platforms are built to maximize the time we spend, not well-being. Features like infinite scroll and push notifications are made to keep users online, not to make them happy. This is a moral problem. Companies are profiting from designs that harm mental health, especially among the young. That's why platforms and society must take responsibility. Platforms should design features that support healthier use. Governments need stronger regulation. Schools and parents need to help teens build better habits online. This isn't just about screen time. It's about mental health, ethic design, and what kind of digital world we want to create. Thank you.
Today I want to talk about a topic that touches all our lives, social media, but from a deeper philosophical perspective. While we often debate its benefits and harms, we rarely ask, what is the ethical cost of how these platforms are designed and used? Let's begin with Immanuel Kant. He believed that human beings must be treated as ends in themselves, never merely as means. Yet, social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, turn us into data points. They manipulate our behavior with infinite scrolls, dopamine-driven notifications, and algorithmic traps, all in the name of profit. According to Kant, this is a moral failure. It treats users not as rational agents, but as tools for advertising revenue. Now consider Aristotle's virtue ethics. Aristotle asked not what rule to follow, but what kind of person we should become. Virtues like self-control, moderation, and reflective thinking that are crucial to human flourishing, or eudaimonia. But social media encourages exactly the opposite. Impulsive scoring, performance over reflection, and toxic comparison. Teens in particular are at risk of losing the capacity for focus, patience, and thoughtful living. Then there's Sartre's existentialism. Sartre argued that we must define ourselves through authentic choices, but online, many young people perform curated identities for likes and approval. They live under what Sartre called the gaze of others, becoming digital objects instead of authentic subjects. When our tastes are shaped by algorithms, our freedom is quietly stolen. We are no longer choosing, we are being chosen. So is social media the disease or just a mirror? The truth is, it's both. Social media doesn't just reflect society's values, it amplifies and distorts them. It takes insecurities and feeds them back louder. Platforms shape emotions, identity, and mental health, but at the same time, they reflect a society already struggling with unrealistic ideals and emotional disconnection. In the end, the question is, isn't just how do we fix social media, it's what kind of society do we want to build. Ethical design and regulation matter, but so does cultural reflection. We need platforms that respect our dignity, foster virtue, and support authentic freedom. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Duri Xi. I'm going to briefly present the fourth part of our project, which I was responsible for. This section summarizes the main findings of our team, compares cross-cultural perspective, proposes ethical suggestions for platforms, and ends with a philosophical reflection. First, in the summary, we integrated the findings of 4 parts. We found that social media doesn't just affect teenagers' mental health on a surface level. It shapes how they think, how they see themselves, and how they live. The first part focused on the utilitarian ethics and shows that platforms sacrifice user well-being for engagement. The second part talked about how features like likes and followers change teenagers' sense of self, virtue, ethics, and existentialism. The third part added Kantian ethics and argued that users are treated as tools, not as human beings with dignity. So overall, social media has both ethical and psychological impacts. Second, in the cross-cultural comparison, we looked at the differences between Western and East Asian teenagers. In Western societies, mental health is discussed more openly, and the emotional support systems are more developed. Teenagers express their feelings more freely. In the East Asia, however, there's still stigma. The young people often stay silent about emotional problems. Social media becomes a double-edged sword. It's a way to express themselves, but it also adds pressure from comparisons and social expectations. So the problems are shared, but the reactions and coping styles differ a lot. Next, we gave some ethical suggestions. Platforms should not just focus on for hits. They need to take responsibility by redesigning features like adding break reminders or teen safety modes. Schools and families also take a role. Education about digital use and emotional health is key. Governments should create stronger law to protect young users. Finally, we ended with a philosophical reflection. Can philosophy help young people resist anxiety and meaninglessness? We believe yes. Philosophy teaches reflection, self-awareness, and the courage to live authentically. It helps teens ask big questions like what makes a life worth living, instead of just following trends. That's why we believe philosophy should be part of basic education. It can be a mental firewall in the noisy digital age. And thank you.